Brothers, sisters, and gender label resistors, welcome back. My name is C28, and happy Wednesday. Yes. Finished shooting the 1K special yesterday, actually. I found the time. It's live on the channel as I speak for control voltages only for the meantime. And it will go live for everyone on Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes. And with that, we do indeed have our little giveaway. I'll find a proper box for these. But we have the SM58 and my Beats are being given away to one lucky winner. That winner will be picked sometime mid-March. Maybe, I don't know, pick something arbitrary, March 15th. Not saying that's it yet. We'll figure out how... I'll figure out what the exact date is later. But mid-March is what we're aiming for when I'll actually pick the winner. So, yes. You have time. If you're like, I don't know what to say. Again, you could just literally put in a full stop and that's it. Little boop, done, finished. But, I understand. Let's start with the full cell stuff though. So just got out of class where we had a lot of stuff to go into. Primarily talking about differences between analog and digital consoles for live audio. We also touched a little bit more on mics and different polar patterns, different, what's it called? I guess it's just types. Is type the right word? What's it called? Goodness, it is just type, isn't it? Dynamic, condenser, stuff like that. Ribbon. So, what could I say? Well, I suppose the main thing that we really touched on in class today are there are different microphones. They're for different purposes, and we've said this stuff before, but we're diving deeper into it. So it will always we seem to be bouncing back into things that we've said before and then providing more detail. So it's kind of like, here's the groundwork. Now look at this thing. And then sometime later, now look at this thing we talked about. And then we're going, that seems to be the pattern of things, which pretty good. I think I took a lot away from the second half though. I've said a lot about microphones before. You're probably familiar with the different polar patterns. So, something like, here's a microphone. I should probably start shooting these video logs with the microphone. There's not a reason why I couldn't do that. So, I already started doing this one, so we're going to continue. But you know what, in future, let's use the microphone. We'll do that. It's off, as you can hear very plainly, especially from the ambient room noise that you are receiving. But yeah, so this is a cardioid dynamic mic, basically meaning that there's like a little bulb in front and picks up best about here. So right here is where I'll put my speaking part, and as long as it's there, it's gonna hear me fine. If I do some nonsense like this, wow, it's suddenly not gonna know, and it's not gonna be able to, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it'll work. It's just gonna sound like shit. So don't do that. Yes. You got different polar patterns. So cardioid, of course, is that bulb. Then you also have something like supercardioid, which also gives you a little bulb here. And then you have hypercardioid, which gives you like a super thin little area here that you can speak in. So it's very directional, but you get a lot of rear pickup as well. So that's good if, say, there's something beside the source that you don't want to pick up really, but you do want to pick up the source, of course. So you can point it at the source, and it's not a shotgun mic, which is stupid directional, but it does work in a similar way. You also got stuff like your omnidirectional. So we actually talked about if you have the SM58 and you hold it like this, you've suddenly just opened up an area here for sound to go in, creating an omnidirectional microphone, which is not ideal for the live sound environment because Well, you got your monitors for the stage, and the stage monitors are going to go right through that and provide you some funky feedback. Now you can, of course, reduce that, and you see people talk like this all the time on the stage, and you know, this is the correct way to hold it. But for some reason, we've said that this looks cool or something, grabbing it by the grill, which turns it into an omnidirectional microphone, so the audience can now hear themselves or something. But it don't do that. All sorts of things exist. Seriously, just look up polar patterns. Oh, that's dumb. Why would I do that? Why would I place you there? No, you have a stand. Yeah, just look up polar patterns and you'll find microphone polar patterns, and you'll find all sorts of different types that exist. Super niche ones, or just, you know, the typical ones that you'll find. Yeah, and then there are different frequency response ranges for different areas too. So that's the thing. If you most of them, you have to pay attention to whether there's top address or side address, which basically means where you are speaking into the thing. Should you speak into it from the side or the front? I've talked about this previously in the recording principles video logs, but it did come up again. So, yeah. But on consoles, digital and analog. The main thing really you're going to run into is it's a mixture between three things. Thing one, weight in size. I'm going to combine those into one. Thing two, price. Thing three, accessibility. Like the ability to just do stuff. To recall your setup. Yeah, so let's get into it. So you may guess. Here, take a guess in the comments right now. Which is more expensive, a digital console or an analog console of the same basic configuration? It's the analog. It's more expensive. Far more expensive. When you pay for an analog board, you are paying for every single component. On a digital board, those are emulated. So you don't have every preamp really there. You can, not a preamp, but you don't have every a knob. You don't have every knob physically there on a digital console. You can just simply say, oh, different page, and have the same stuff controlling all of your channels. And even the channel strips you see, well, you got different pages. You haven't got that on an analog console. So price goes up. If you want 32 channels on your analog console, you're going to have 32 physical channels that you have to pay for. And they're big. They're heavy. So that's why digital is preferred for one reason. Second reason is processing. If you want to add effects, analog's not going to support that. You can do analog effects off the board and patch it in, and you have just that one effect. If you want to put reverb on every single one of your channels, if you want, like, say 8 channels with reverb, you need 8 500 series reverb modules. How about just the one and it's built into the console and you can put it everywhere? That would be nice. So yeah, digital gives you a lot of benefits. Stuff like that. It's cheaper. You suddenly don't have to keep buying more stuff when you want more of it, such as your effects. And recalling. Pen and paper is the way that you would recall stuff. With analog, when people used to use that. We really don't use analog anymore in live audio. If you're using analog, it's typically one of two reasons. Reason one, super niche and expensive piece of equipment that gives you this crazy sound that no one else has and you're known for it. Reason two, it's a hand-me-down and you can't afford a digital console. That's about it. Digital consoles are the way to go. Yeah, and recall. I mean, this is analog tech right here. Whenever you see me do a synthetic design episode, or I'm using this for anything else, I have to just dial in the parameters, patch it in. I can't hit a button and be like, oh yeah, pull up abused space-time. Pull up funky acid maid who delivers mail. Pull up this. No, I have a book here. And this book has all of my patches. So if I want to patch, I have to write it down and recreate it. You can press a button on a digital console, which is nice. It's nice to not have to write all these things down. Yeah. Where were the other things we went into here? Aha, networking. So, as opposed to just simply using your XLR or your TRS cables, you also have network cables that you can use to pass signal around to different devices. Say if you have an expansion module on a digital console, you can just easily add an expansion module, and now suddenly if you want those physical faders, you can just add them there and then patch that in. Other things. Now, we didn't finish this section, so there's a lot I'm missing. I'm not going to fully speak on it because I'm missing info, but we did talk a little bit about Dante as it's basically a protocol. It's not a software per se, it's a protocol for moving information in and out of consoles. Yeah. So Dante cards are these little things you have to buy that will configure your console or allow your console to interface with the Dante protocol. Yeah, you see I'm missing info here. But expansion slots, basically, you can plug into your digital console so it'll work. And they're all different types. So like, what are some of the examples here of different ones that exist? So yeah, so through Ethernet, you can have Dante, EtherSound, AVB, ANET, AES50, Ultranet, ACE, Firewire, USB 2.0, AES, MADI, fiber optic, and yeah, that's quite a lot of different things there. So, sorry, the AES, MADI, and fiber optic are not Ethernet. They're different options, but they also can do the same job. Different things exist. Dante is the industry standard, so that's what people use, and it's nice when things communicate like that. Like MIDI protocol. MIDI protocol, kind of different thing, but same concept. You're outsourcing information, but you need it in one format. Something that can support that format. MIDI's probably stupid basic compared to Dante because, well, face it, MIDI's not really giving you... Let me think how to phrase this because it does do a lot, but Dante does way more intense stuff than MIDI does. I'll say that. Dante does more intense stuff than MIDI. So, yeah. Is there anything else I'm going to talk about here? For the most part, we just talked about their different configurations you can get for your consoles. Obviously, the more stuff you have, the price you're just going to get. And we saw a bunch of examples. I'm not going to show you every single example. If you want the examples, go to Full Sail. But yes, we're going into the difference between, or we're going into consoles, deeper dive into consoles. Yes. I did have a lab that I had yesterday, went to, and then shot the 1K special, where we were miking up a drum set, and oh my goodness, that was an experience that was fun. That was good to have. It was cool to see the reasons for all these different mics with their polar patterns and seeing how you want to essentially reject as much noise as possible from certain areas and how you do that. Like, we always talk theoretically on how it's done and we could visualize it, but doing it is something else, and that's really cool. So we got to do that yesterday. We got to mic up a drum set, pass signal through it. And funny thing we learned, which is really important to learn because intuitively, you want to do the thing that you shouldn't do. When you're doing a signal check, a line check, you don't play the instrument. You speak into the microphone. You see, we were saying, so we were given the instruction, all right, let's do a line check on the mics now for the drum set. Give me some of the kick. And then I went to go play the kick, and then our lab instructor basically said, well, there's one thing wrong with what you did, and it may not seem, didn't say this verbatim, but basically said, well, an artist is going to say, whoa, don't touch my stuff. Do not touch my drum. Do not touch my... And they are crazy about it. They will not want you touching their stuff. So the way you actually do it is you just speak it in the microphone. So you get down on the floor, put your face next to the microphone, signal, signal, signal. Front of the house, can you hear me? This is the kick drum, this is the floor drum, this is the bass drum, whatever you want to call it. Signal, signal, signal. And then they'll be like, yeah, I can hear it. No, can't hear it. Speak up. Anything. Yeah. I guess that one little thing I could say. Line check and sound check. That was those are two things separated out, different terms now that I know. Your line check, you probably know. You're like, oh, that's an obvious term. It's just checking to see does it make sound. Yes. Sound check is the quality of that sound. So you do a line check first. Just see, does everything work? Cool, it works. Even if it's like giving you terrible low end. It works. That's all you care about. It works. Then you go back and you're like, okay, what's causing that terrible low end? That's your sound check. So those are two separate stages to checking your miking on stage to see, is it going to do what you want it to? And with that, yeah, not much else. Intro to Show Pros give me a lot of alien concepts to me that I think I'm doing a pretty decent job understanding. But I guess it's really going to click once we start doing these more in-depth labs where you're actually miking stuff up. You're seeing the signal flow and you're doing it, then it's going to click and make sense. Because we spoke about some of these things previously, but they didn't fully make sense to me. After, of course, doing them, it makes way more sense. So I guess stand by on the stuff that I don't know how to fully explain to you because I don't know it myself very well. It will make sense later. Yes. So, C2A business, there's not a whole lot left to say. Yeah, I did the 1K special. That's fun. Expect that Friday. I think I've got a decent amount of time now to record some more videos, looking at my schedule. So I will try to record more videos, some more synthetic design stuff, just the classic episodes. Nothing stupid like using all the patch cables. That was a bloody pain. But we did it, and we got some crazy sounds. Sounds like this. But spoilers, you gotta wait till Friday, unless you're control voltage. So, yeah. There's not anything else. So, expect in future, I'm gonna use a microphone. Yes. And with that, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those questions or comments in the comment section below and I'll get back to them. If you enjoyed today's content, you can subscribe. And if you super enjoyed it, you can become a control voltage to get early access to videos, access to the Discord, behind the scenes content, and more. Perhaps we'll do some live videos soon. I'm thinking about doing that, but probably do them for everyone as well. Yeah. I hope you all take care of yourselves. God be with you, and goodbye, YouTube.